Here's my review of Deadpool and Wolverine. This has been one of my most anticipated movies for a while now, and I don't understand why it is so divisive. I think that this movie was just a blast. It's a very fun time, and I do think that I guess, a criticism I can definitely understand, even I have myself, is the story itself isn't really the best, but I don't really know why some people are acting like the first two had just absolutely amazing stories. I mean, but that's just me. But I think with this movie, it's just very fun. And that's what I think people have to know about this movie. I mean, the opening scene alone, where, like, Deadpool is going in the woods to find Logan and, like, fighting off all the TVA agents. It's super bloody, it's super funny, and this is exactly what you want out of a Deadpool movie. And just the fights between Deadpool and Wolverine are just so fun because these are two characters with these extraordinary healing powers. The fights can naturally be like super brutal and anything can happen to them, and you're not really worried about any of them dying. But that's just what makes it fun. It's just the fun action, and that's what I just don't understand. Like, really, with why so many people are hating on this movie. I think I think that it did its goal great. I think it set out just to be a fun time, and it was. And I can understand people wanting more emotion, but I still think that there's a lot of emotion here. For example, I mean, when Logan, well, it's not really this Logan, it's a different version of Wolverine, is talking to X-23, aka Laura. I mean, there's a lot of beautiful emotional moments just in this scene of just them talking. And so I just don't really understand, like, really a lot of the complaints with this movie. And I think that this movie does get serious when it wants to. And I keep saying, like, I'm just having a fun time, because that's just what this movie is. I don't think I can see this definitely ending up in my top 10 favorite movies of the year, but I don't know if it'll be in my top 5, but I just thoroughly enjoyed it. And I do think, as for the villain, like Cassandra Nova, I believe that's her name, I'm pretty sure. She is very menacing and very cool. The way her powers work, she can, like, phase into people, like, and then it shows, like, the CG, like, of the fingers coming out of, like, the skull, but it's only, like, halfway. It's very creepy and very, like, just disturbing, but it just makes her a very interesting character, and I just kept having so much fun watching it. And I do understand, like, on a story level, I think it can be quite weak. I mean, this movie, I will say, like, I don't want to say she's a generic villain, but I wouldn't really say she's the most interesting. I think she's, like, the actress did a fantastic job. I think Emma Corrin, I believe, is their name. And I think that they did a fantastic job. But I just think the character itself isn't really, it's not, like, she's not boring. But I don't know if she really has, like, as much personality as you'd want from a villain. But the thing is, you go into a movie like this for Deadpool and Wolverine, that's what you get. And you get tons of really fun just scenes, like dog pool. And it's just the fun stuff like this is just what I wanted from this movie. And, like I said, I think that this movie is, I wouldn't say complete. It's almost exactly what I wanted, but it is definitely everything I expected, which is not bad. I expected to have a fun time with awesome action, fun characters, and yes, some emotion here or there, and I got all of that. I think that Laura's character adds a lot of emotion to this that is much needed here. And I think that, I mean, Daphne Keane is great, and personally, I always thought it would have been very interesting before the whole, like, Fox merger. I always thought it would be very interesting to see her basically just completely take up the mantle of Wolverine and just see a solo movie of her lead the X-Men. But unfortunately that never happened. But I wouldn't say she gets a lot to do here, but she's very good here, and it's just a lot of fun. I wouldn't really say she's the heart of the film, but I think that she definitely adds the emotion. So yeah, so that's one of the main things I just wanted to talk about. I think is, with a movie like this, you have to temper your expectations. I think that your main expectation is just to have fun. This movie is full of surprising cameos. And since I'm reviewing this late, spoiler, I'm going to tell a couple. Like, we get to see Blade, which is pretty depressing considering we've been waiting for our MCU Blade forever, but we still don't have him. But we get to see Channing Tatum's Gambit, Jennifer Garner's Elektra. And there's a lot of awesome stuff like that in this movie. But I feel like here it doesn't really feel like cheap as maybe even something like in Multiverse of Madness. But it makes sense why they're there, and it's just really fun. And I feel like in many ways this will be a movie that people wanted Multiverse of Madness to be. But I'd say it's better than Multiverse of Madness, which I already liked. I didn't love it, but I liked it. And this is a much better version of it. And I'd argue, like, I feel like if people are going to nitpick this movie, and I feel like we should definitely apply those same criticisms to something like a No Way Home, but I'm not going to go, like, too into, like, a whole cinematic universe. I just want to say, like, as for this movie, I just had a blast of a time. I think I loved Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds in this movie. All the other actors and actresses, I think, were fantastic. And yes, the plot and story itself isn't particularly compelling, but when you're just basically just having, like, a buddy cop movie, I guess buddy cop wouldn't be the right word, just a buddy comedy movie, it works, I think, fantastically. And that's, I feel like, what you should expect from this film. That's what I wanted from this film, and that's what I got from this film. So yeah, I think it's a very funny movie, a very fun movie, and a very awesome in terms of the action and gore, but it also does have enough heart to not make it just generic action, the movie. So yeah, I just had a blast with it.